Sit up straight, tall, shoulders back, shoulder blades down. Join your breathing to your posture. Connected. Pelvic, abdomen, chest, throat, head, spine. So release these arms and legs away from spine and skull, keeping the height of the trunk, the release of the arms. If it's done with the original posture holding, when you release the arms, it gives more room for the chest to lift instead of feeling that it somehow pulls down on the chest. That release should not weigh heavily on the rib cage. The rib cage is full and expansive, and even these armpit corners, the inner surface, that rib surface, is lifted, and the shoulder spreads without losing the lift or the arm. You have to feel both of these releases. The arm releases down toward the extremity, but do not forget that most of this connective structure of the arm is on your back. So when you release this arm, it isn't just these things, these extremities. It is all of this surface, all from the skull down, trapezius down, shoulder blades down, the surface of these middle ribs down, even the buttocks down, because that's the release of the legs from the trunk. And in the midst of all of that, the trunk becomes hopefully more free to widen, to lift. That downward letting go of that arm is separate from the lift of the ribs, the spine, the trunk. Join your palms. Keep working at this. Attention in, breath connected, senses connected, trunk up, nerves release down, spreading, letting go. The ears draw in, listening to that sound, translating it into a syllable sound that you hear clearly. It's a pitch, a tone you can hear. Connected. In this way, pay homage to your practice and to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow your head. Release your hands. Raise your head. And open those eyes. Now, stretch your legs. Stand up, clear the mat. Let's see what kind of view I have. stand up. And you could give me as good a view as you can get. I need a lateral view, if possible. And if you need a wall behind you, adjust for that. Right. My view is one thing. I'd like to see you, but the proper way to support yourself is more important. Let me see your feet. Let me see your hands, if possible, or is at least above your head. Okay, good. Now, Tadasana, right? Stand straight. You can, of course, be legs joined, Tadasana. Feet joined, toes joined, heels joined. Kind of interestingly, join, see this section, this part of the heel right here should try to join the other heel. It's not just ankle bones, but this section of the heel on each foot. This section of heel, which is concave for a lot of us. So you have to adjust to make that inner heel. Now, stretch your arms down as we did previously. Stretch your legs down as previously. Back shoulder muscles. Good. Now, externally rotate. Come up. Urdhva Hastasana. By the way, stay connected with this breath. And if fatigue is an issue, start breathing deeper. Exhale as if you're using that breath to connect more thoroughly. Spread the diaphragm. Stretch up. Urdhva Padangusthasana. Stretch up. Now, your shoulders, all this back structure is, including here, the odd part is spreading away from the spine and the skull, right? This nerve, this muscle is going away. Even in the low back here, it's going away and then stretching toward the arm. This back spreads and stretches, spreads and stretches. Be clear about this back. Let your head come forward if the neck can't disengage any other way. Exhale, come out briefly. Don't forget which interlock of the fingers you just picked, right? Because you can take the other one. Are you okay? Give me a sign. Okay, go up. Change that to interlock. Oh, reset those feet if necessary, just like me, or at least reinforce them. Up you go. Second interlock. It's the back body where the shoulder lives. This is why we keep saying, get your shoulder sockets on your back. That's where you can make the most effective extension. Get the spine in and the shoulder on the back. Push those legs down and release, come out. Now, Trikonasana. Use a wall if you need to. Get a brick, get a chair. I'm looking at different arm positions. So let's rehearse just once. Arms down. Arms out to the sides. Now, we'll not do Trikonasana with both arms overhead, but we'll do one arm weight bearing on the floor, and one arm overhead. So there'll be shapes like this, okay? And there will be shapes like this. Floor arm, top arm. Floor arm, top arm. Floor arm, top arm. Floor arm, top arm. Okay, shoulder, Trikonasana with various shoulder positions. So if you're near a wall, make sure your elbow touches the wall or something like that. Okay, so whatever support you need, separate those feet. Stand there, arms at your sides. Shalabhasana, I'm calling this. So this makes you think about getting on your back body with that arm. Lift the ribs. Okay. Then conventional, arms horizontal. But one bit here, I'm going to say, make fist, bend your elbow, and can you push as if you're trying to push with your forearm or elbow outward, just to see if you can recruit some more back shoulder, mid back spread. Does that make sense? Just do some more very deliberate stretching. You need either to work that way or tighten your triceps and pull. Okay. Turn to the right. Stretch your left heel. Turn the right thigh. Keep the shoulders spreading. Take conventional Utthita Trikonasana. Top arm vertical. Brick as you need. Okay. Now push those arms away from each other, spreading your back. Stretch from the legs, lifting your trunk away. So move those right ribs. If you spread the shoulders, again, there's more room for the ribs. Take your top arm back, Shalabhasana-like, thumb down, pinky up, shoulder back, push, lift your chest. Take your hand to the hip, reach that upper arm back to the elbow, push the elbow, and of course the shoulder blade. Okay, then stretch up. Now, if you have any kind of injured shoulder, a way of coming up is swinging forward like so. Straight arm, that's often safe. The more conventional way is to take the arm over. Sorry, a third way is to reach with the elbow. You understand, we've had all of those varieties there. That elbow chaya, when it goes overhead, it comes forward and scrapes past your skull and ear. Then the elbow stretches. Does that seem shoulder healthy? Looks good if it's safe in the shoulder. Now think of your back, stretch the arms, inhale, coming up, push into the back heel. Now, I see you still have that bendy front leg, Cheryl. I'm sorry for the knee thing. Is okay. I completely trust your adjustments. Not gonna complain. I'm just noticing. You ready for side 2? So feet parallel, stretch your arms down, stretch your arms out, create width, right? We have bent elbow methods. We have other bent elbow. We have straight elbow. We have arms down. We have all these ways of getting at that middle rib cage and the anchor of those shoulders. So connect there, turn left, and take conventional Trikonasana, right? Bending from the hips, keeping anchored, going to whatever support. Now spread those shoulder blades away from each other and move the chest forward away from your feet. Now you can bend and take the arm back. This is the condition of your shoulder. You sort of loosen the socket and then go where you can work safely. Turn your thumb down, go away from the spine, away from the skull. Neck issues, the skull also goes away from the arm. Then elbow, so you can sort of target much more the upper arm and think less with your hand. And the arm comes up and it finds a way to come forward. This bent elbow trick, this bent elbow safety goes forward in the socket, scraping by the skull and then stretching. Now, in that full extension, roll your trunk, take that armpit back, use your back muscles. Now, place the arm in a more correct position for coming up. Reach it up, reach it back, and then inhale and come up. And turn your feet and bring your feet together. So now there's these arm positions in Vimanasana and going toward Virabhadrasana 1. Again, arm positions like so. Well, here, if you put your, right foot forward, left, just watch the arm, and you face your right side, right? As we would do for Virabhadrasana 1. So I'm getting a good, hoping to get a good distance. Turn the hip straight. Let us pay attention to those legs. And if I can point out that inner heel piece starts, being a little anchor point for your attention, your thought here. So then, Shalabhasana, elbows bent, arms horizontal, spreading, arms turning, and arms coming up. So we have all those arm positions. Let us establish the legs and let me see you. Right foot forward, left foot back, brace on the heels, turn your trunk forward, level the hips, stay on the inner front heel, push into it, connect to the outer hip, stretch your back heel, inner and outer. Now, come up through the trunk from that ground. Come up through the ribs and chest. Then roll the shoulders back, stretch them down as in Shalabhasana. Palms face back, elbow straight, shoulders back, shoulder blades down. All that back arm is helping you ground your back heel and free up that spine and rib cage. Hands to the hips. Do some more reinforcement. Take all of that back muscle down so that all of the front becomes free. And what starts happening is the back bend starts coming. Get the grounding all the way to your feet. Lift the pubis and take any shape back bend that arrives. Lift your chest. Don't lose your breath. Stay connected. Stay listening to the sound. When the sound of your breath gets frantic, you should come out. Okay, come out. Except, sorry, we haven't changed the hand position. Stretch your arms horizontal. Broaden that chest. It's just come out of the deep back bend. Now spin from that back shoulder and take your arms up. And if you instinctively know this is not right, protect your shoulder to go up. Keep your breath connected. This is cardiopulmonarily the strongest of these poses. Now you can completely come out. Release the arms and turn the feet. Rejoin the feet. If you are out of breath, don't join the feet. In fact, you can stand feet wider. A very good way to stabilize the breath is to lean against a wall with the feet apart. So if you see what I'm doing, Karen, this is actually a really nice aspect of the bar wall. There is a very stable foot brace and arm brace. Anyway, now we did, that was side 2 now. Feet apart. Left foot forward. Stay on the inner heel as well as the outer. Make sure that leg is straight. Open that back thigh. Keep the pelvis level. And from the grounding of the legs, you know, some of you, I see your hands starting out on the hips, so I think it might be a logical thing to do to put those hands on the hips and use that as the first pose. Use the hands to reinforce the grounding of the legs and this back body. And use that position to help the arms and shoulders ground. Lift that chest in front of that. Now stretch your arms fully straight, Shalabhasana-like. And the chest comes up. And this is where I said, take the biggest extension of the front body that is available to you in this shape. And then I confused everybody by saying, come out. I just meant come out of the giantest back bend and stretch your arms horizontally and spread. And then roll the arms, spreading even more by that roll. And inhale, take the arms up. Virabhadrasana 1 with straight legs, unless you're very full of endurance and cardiovascular strength, and you can keep that knee bent, Kathy. Okay, and then come out, because we are going to bend the knee, Cheryl, on both sides. But I'm going to give people arm choices in this next round. The arm, you have observed, I hope, how this arm position, this arm position, this arm position, I didn't give you this choice, and I should have. There's also this arm position, that bent elbow overhead, like the way we got the arm overhead to open and the shoulder before we stretched, okay? We have some options here, but I want you to be super cautious. Anyhow, let's see. Right foot forward, left foot back. You're gonna, I'm going to make this much more formal. So hang on for a second. In symmetry, you are going to select the position you'll work with. Okay. Then you will turn to your right, and you stretch from your back. Now, if that means you want to do some enhancement, do you see my arms in Badankuliasana? That helps give me some strength there. Now I can bend. Okay. So take those feet wide enough apart that you can bend to right ankle. Absolutely fair to brace your back heel, but just make sure the distance between the feet is good. Pick your arm position before you turn. Arm position in place, spine lifted, legs active, then you turn. Right? Turn after you set the arm, shoulder, spine. If you turn and then set the arms, those two shoulder blades will be different. So set the arms before you turn the legs. When you're ready, when you have that fullest extension, I don't care if it's angled to the ceiling directly above or the wall behind you, or if you bend all the way to your back heel, so long as you can breathe, so long as those ribs are open and no part of that posterior body is crimping. Breathe and inhale and come up. Turn, keep the arms in the position if it is possible. Turn face forward, reset however you might need, and change sides. So you want to be set in that upper body before the legs turn. Make the biggest back bend. And I don't mean the crimpiest, I mean the most extension. Straight up, little back, lot back, keep your neck, throat open, connected in that breath, connected heels to floor. Keep that extension. Keep that forward facing pose. Only work to bend the knee. Hands can be on the hips, you know. They don't have to be overhead. Inhale, come up. Turn the feet, release, come out. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Just to not actually resting the arms, but you're resting the breath, the heart. Catch your breath. All right. Enough breath catching. Let's try. I'm going to offer two options. One is with support, and in the supported pose, you can keep that support as long as you like, or you can work with it anyway. So first pose is Ustrasana. Arm positions. If you go with your buttocks back to this chair and stretch your legs, you can start with these elbows bent and keep your back hips to the chair. Pull on the chair as if you want to spread it laterally. Pull with the elbows, broaden the shoulders. Don't do it to an extreme, but do it till you get a response. Then take those shoulders back, lifting the chest. See how the rib cage, that shoulder girdle starts sort of sliding back, sliding down. And the rib cage starts opening in front. So my arms can go further back. Look, my spine is forward, so I don't irritate the neck. Okay, so here's how it grows. You take your arms up, pull the chair. If everything is happy, you go to the top of the chair, pull it apart, lift your chest. How does it continue? You walk forward and bring your thighs forward. Walk forward, bring your thighs forward. Bring your hip sockets forward. Now, the chest needs to open. I'm looking, and I think I need to clarify one thing. You're doing fine, but let me watch 1 second. This is the key thing. And for it, I think I apologize for wearing a dark shirt. I should know better. Okay, so getting a little closer. If you see this shoulder socket, if I take my arm back, just take the arm back. That arm is, here's my bone. It's basically lined up with my collarbone. Somebody needs muting. There we go. Okay, so what it has to do is go back. Do you see it? So you have to make room. Don't just raise the arm. That's being sort of like hand-minded and not shoulder chest minded. So let the hand come down and be much, much more about the lift of the chest and the rolling of that shoulder socket back. So as you come forward, that sternum begins to draw forward and the shoulders back, and the back muscles stay descending, hips descend, and as more room comes, Cheryl, the knees scoot forward and you start opening up space entirely, right? Thighs forward, hip sockets forward, chest ribs opening, come out slowly. Hopefully your elbows are fine with those thumbs staying down. Are you okay? All right, so you see, this can get quite intense. And your goal here, whoever you are who stays working on the chair, think of this section of your rib cage, which is corresponding to the shoulder blade section of the rib cage. And right at the base of the shoulder blade, there's an enormous amount of shoulder muscle structure. So when you're working that shoulder blade, shoulder structure is what is turning this sternum horizontal. Do you see it? When these ribs come up from this action, these muscles, these root shoulder blades lifting, when that happens, you can take more Ustrasana. Get it?
One
and
little
if you're
question,
going like that, you might.
One little question about the shoulder blades. What I feel is they really approach each other a lot.
Keep your sense of direction as descending and scooping in and lifting your entire trunk. There is an inner shoulder blade influence on the spine itself. So I won't say you're wrong feeling that, but I will also say you should feel it at the side ribs, the outer ribs also. Get some engagement there. Yes, that's better, Chaya, in the chest. Keep lifting that sternum, and the head will go back from the sternum, thoracic spine, not the cervical. When it's ready, it goes from the chest. So Gay, don't come out, scoot your knees forward so you make a bigger space. And then reach, oh yes, I hope that feels good. Okay, bigger back bend. So you walk your knees forward, reach the arms back, open that chest. All right, then you can work on genuine Ustrasana if you like. Yes, some of these look good. Yes. Now, Kathy, the knees are a bit wide. If you ask me, if you could keep those knees in about hip width, and go from there. Now, also make sure your right ribs are lifted equally to the left ribs. Right ribs, right side waist, side ribs lifting. Many people have asymmetrical rib cages, so I could easily be wrong here. So see instead that your back muscles feel equally lifted. All right. I wish to move on one additional effort. Now, at back bends. Let's see. Here's two options. One is with support and one is without. So I take a chair and I just slip knot a strap through the back of the chair in case. Okay. Then you can sit on the floor I beg your pardon. I think this might be best put against a wall, but I'm not sure. That's how I'm used to thinking of it. But we'll see. It might have to do with you pushing so it doesn't travel. Okay. So do you see where my back is on the edge of this chair? It's exactly where we've been discussing. And if you are a small person, an Anu-sized person, you might put a blanket under your hips to get the location. This counts. Put your back there. Some of you might sit cross-legged, probably not straight-legged, I think cross-legged or bent-kneed. Then the arms go up, the buttocks sit down, the chest opens, and if you're really feeling good about your extension, oh, those hands might touch the wall one at a time. In any case, you've got this strap. You can take that strap overhead. 2 hands. You got 2 straps, 1 strap in each hand, and you can push those straps up and stretch your trunk. And if your arms are straight enough, your skull will rest on your hands. Come out. If things go well, you can walk down that strap to the chair. And try to open your chest more. But you got to sit below those shoulder blades. Sit below the shoulder blades. Raise your hips if necessary. Is that our actual Paul? Hi, Paul. I wasn't going to say anything until I saw your face. Open that chest. Keep your hips down. This is the sternum up, diaphragm up. Now, time to come out, rest. Okay. Now, some of you may have had enough of this, so I give you another option. And the other option is to take Adho Mukha Virasana, being very quiet, and then wait there for a few moments while the other guys do slightly more difficult things. It's not that bad, but it's just no support. So, hands for a start. And this is as much to get the legs going as it is to get this back body going and the chest roll. And the arms go overhead, you fully extend. Then the elbows bend and you reach for the wall. And you reach down the wall. And you reach down the wall. But you see, I'm taking care to support myself. Okay. When you're done, touch the wall. That's all. I don't care if you reach to your tippy toes. You shouldn't be that close to the wall if you do that, but this is just about supporting the lift of your own chest. Do you have support there, Paul? I hope you do. Are you doing well? Great. Great. Glad to hear it or see it. All right. Yes. Now, Karen, stay there at the wall. Instead of pushing away from the wall, push through your feet, push through your arms to lift your sternum up. So yes, it moved just half a centimeter, and yet it goes forward coincidentally. The fundamental direction is up. This is always lifting, lifting up, 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 up. Once I get to the wall, up, 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 up. That becomes your syllable. Up, which has the vowel sound which is the first letter of the alphabet, which is important. So go right ahead and say
My elbows go out. Is that okay? At a
What are
certain
your
point.
shoulder blades doing?
Let me see.
Question 2, do your shoulders hurt?
Yes, when the elbows start to go out, if I try to force them in.
Then take your palms, namaskar.
Okay,
and do whatever your elbows want or shoulders want. But now go to work with the shoulder blades. And you walk down the wall, chopping with your namaskar hands. And eventually you could turn your palms to the wall if the shoulder feels safe.
Okay. Whoa.
All right. Now I'm almost done. Those who are done with back bends and have spent a little time in, let me say, some of you are still at it. You're taking a break and going again. You get another 2 or 3 tries, and then you join up with the rest of us. Adho Mukha Virasana is with any kind of useful support. So I suggested a bolster. But if you have some kind of ache, like all my coercion didn't actually result in a nice, quiet, loose, spacious back, you can increase the support by putting a little blanket roll right in the hip socket. Anyway, Adho Mukha Virasana, strictly to pacify, not, by the way, not to yank in an opposing direction. Good, Cheryl. Now think that sternum wants to go up. Yes, roll that sternum. And the rib cage slides underneath those shoulder blades. That's actually a good shape there. That's rolling open. Reach for the wall as soon as you need to. Hover, if you can, peacefully All right. So those doing Adho Virasana, you may shift now, but watch this shift. I'm gonna face, oh, probably have to back up some. So you see my hands. Okay, knees apart, toes together. I go forward. Now, instead of having a big bolster, I use my thigh as a bolster. And if I can't quite make contact with my thigh, I add some height so I can. Watch. This is your right thigh. This is the right side of my trunk is going to come down on that thigh. Left side of trunk is free. Right hand braces, watch this. The whole left side rolls down, supported by this thigh. I'm just resting on that thigh and I'm rolling and oozing and spreading and lengthening. It gets longer and it gets wider right from the hips. It's like I'm doing a supported twist, but it's not a twist yet. Go to your right, lie over that thigh or a thigh with a blanket on it. And is there anybody whose knees will not tolerate this? I can give an alternate. Keep the buttocks at rest. And now if you're going to your right elbow bends to brace you and your left side stretches. So is Kathy doing Janu Shirshasana? Is that knee related? Yeah, knee. Options. So Kathy, do you see what I'm doing? Sitting on a chair with the thighs bent, knees bent, legs relaxed, and I can go forward and roll down against that thigh. Fight just a table, doesn't have to be a second chair.
I couldn't see what you were doing with your legs before.
I was just kneeling in Virasana, toes together, knees apart.
And then going forward.
And then going forward to the one side and rolling the trunk down.
Well, where was the blanket?
It was padding as needed between the thigh and the trunk. So you come forward and roll. Change sides, everybody. Kathy, get started. If those knees bend. Virasana, toes together, knees apart, seated on the heels. Blanket is there just to soften and complete the contact. If necessary, if you're a good forward bender and you don't get hip cramps, then just fold right up. But if you have tightness in the hips, get that blanket in there, make space, go forward now. Right arm, left arm bracing, and roll the right side of the spine down. Spread the back. ribs, muscles. Okay, come up then. Are you okay?
Mhm.
That feels like a little bit twisty, but it's not quite, it's just a spreader. Okay. So let's see if we can twist it now. So you go forward and you come down, and I want you to come so that this arm has some freedom to just, sorry, change the camera view. Props out of the way. This could be done higher off the floor. Anyway, I really want you to roll a bit farther, like you're rolling this side down against this thigh. It doesn't have to be on top of it. It just has to come up against it and come down. And just, how to put this here, I'll turn it this way. To get over here, this side, relatively speaking, shortened. So I come to a rest, best without glasses. And I just start unfurling this side. And it turns into a bit of a this side stretch. So you're just using a bolster that's your thigh and rolling around on it. Now you're rolling deeper than you rolled the first time. You can fully brace with the weight of your trunk and the support of the arms, and just let the length of that lower trunk, side spine, side waist, let go, come out. I hope this is useful. My low back likes it a lot, but especially on one side where it's tight. Right, side two. Do this for the spine. Don't permit shoulder irritation, neck irritation. And come out. Now, you probably don't need this many chairs. Please take Adho Mukha Svanasana. Be as symmetrical as you can. You just did twists. You just did asymmetrical things. Stretch your shoulders carefully. You've done a fair amount of shoulder and back body work. I hope you're remembering it. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Spread out across your back. Low back, buttocks, middle back. That is especially important. Lower rib cage. Then that especially important upper rib cage right in front of the shoulder blades. Stretch it all, neck and head. And back through the thighs. Now, release, come out. Okay, now we have to rest the brain in the neck because I know for some of you there was some unusual neck work. So I don't want you to get sore. So take some blanket support. You need your blankets wide enough to support your shoulders. This is extra wide, you see. So that's nice, but those with flexible shoulders could take something, you know, it just needs to be wide enough for your shoulders. Okay. So you want also enough to make your neck very quiet. So most of us, a blanket like this or two of this kind, but on the other hand, I'm not going to stop you if you think you need more safety. So I have this, and of course I put it back up. I have a strap. Now we've been doing back bends all along. Here's also a brick. We've been doing back bends all along. So hopefully this is like the payoff, a relaxation where the chest is very open. Watch me. I am wiggling around on this blanket. So my whole neck is upon the blanket on top, not just my shoulders with my neck free. I'm way out here, skull supported and strap in hands. So I can catch it in Shalabhasana arm position, which is palms facing the floor, holding that brick, holding that strap. So the heels come in and the heels are toes in, heels lifted, ankles long, feet long, shins long, knees very high up to the ceiling. And I start lifting, and then I go to work with the shoulders. Watch, I have to keep my skull on the edge of that blanket, but reach the arm out. Reach that arm like Shalabhasana and lift the chest. So my neck all the way to the base of the skull gets support. This is a way of keeping your head and the very top of the neck from trying to do things, right? That ridge of blanket, it's not harsh, but it's like biofeedback. Okay, it says, you know, stop acting, stop doing stuff. Now, who's this? Karen, make sure you're on the big toe base joint. You are free to strap your ankles, but don't let that strap pull your ankles together. Just keep them straight. Stay on the big toe, stretch the inner leg, go up. As soon as you get sort of partway lifted in those shoulders, keep the skull in contact with the edge of that blanket so the jaw, ears, face stays disengaged, and go up, reach that back arm away. So you feel the shoulder girdle going away from the skull, away from the spine. The palms, in theory, on the floor, sides of the wrist on the floor. So Cheryl, slide, or your strap is probably in a nice place, but try to get the wrist down. Try to pull that, even if the hand doesn't move, pull the wrist. Okay, now some of you are getting tired. Feel free to put a brick under the hips. But I'm telling you, some of you have gotten up pretty high in your back bend shape because of what your chest is doing. So a brick might, not be high enough anymore. Try to keep those ribs up as you bring your heels down. And that will tell you what height brick you need. So next minute or two, place a brick under your sacrum and do this pose quietly. Make sure that your brick does not sit partly on your blanket. Pull the blanket out of the way if it's in the way. That's why I'm kind of an advocate of a slightly smaller blanket. There's less fussing. And Cheryl, I grant you my head placement may not be perfect for you, but I currently really enjoy it. Anybody else, if it bugs your neck to have the blanket as I requested, please do change. This is always an experiment. Once again, connect back into the breath and that inherent sound. Focus on it. Spell it out for yourself. That's how closely you're listening. And see if you can make that sound be as smooth and steady as possible. Just the one sound. The ear has to relax profoundly to hear more clearly. Come out of this pose. See if you can maintain your sensitivity to that sound so you can't move fast. And after you settle, roll to your side. Set yourself up for Shavasana. In this Shavasana, please support your neck in the way that is most suitable. You can have a small roll underneath it. Pay attention to the as much to what the neck is doing and its comfort. Also pay attention to the brain itself and its comfort. So if you let the head drop back because it feels good on that neck, make sure that even if the brain also, goes back away from the eyebrows, it's a quiet brain. look at the whole. WHOLE. So pelvis, abdomen, chest, throat, head, spine. Brain, nerves, when the mind wanders, you lose track of that sound. When you catch your mind wandering, go back to that sound. If you relax more deeply, you can hear or feel, you can sense that sound wherever your senses go. The energy of that sound permeates all the tissues. It is 9:15. Sorry to interrupt that sound. So you can stay as you are because you're home. You don't have to clear the hall for anybody. In any case, I need to move to my next appointment. So I will say namaskar.